So the other major story I want to talk about this week, and this might be the last one, is earlier this week, Germany and the US agreed to send tanks to Ukraine to help with the war. And I think this is a step too far, guys. Look, I have been concerned about the scope of this war for a long time. From the beginning, I've been articulating my fears about this becoming a proxy war. I think now it is firmly in the territory of proxy war. Originally, we said that we were going to provide defensive weapons to Ukraine, right? So the Russians bring in tanks, we bring in anti-tank rifles, right? The Russians bring in jets, we give you anti-air missiles, right? You know, the Russians are using artillery, we give you counter short-range artillery. But what's happening now is that we've had a continual scope creep, and we're forking over billions and billions and billions, untold billions. I literally could not tell you how many billions of dollars that we've sent to Ukraine without a second thought, without counting it, without worrying about how we're going to pay for it. We're not tracking these weapons. I brought that up a little while ago. But this is a new phase. Tanks are not defensive tools. You use a tank to take your fight to the enemy. And as much as I want the war to end, I cannot see how sending tanks to Ukraine makes that prospect any greater. In fact, it seems that we have totally stopped encouraging the Russians and the Ukrainians to go to the negotiating table. Ukraine is talking about offenses into Belarus. Guys, Russia is doing crazy things, indefensible things, terrible things, and I want them to stop doing that. But if we back Russia into what they think is a corner, they are led by a hedonistic madman who has access to nuclear weapons, potentially unfettered access to nuclear weapons. We do not understand the nuclear threat that Russia poses. Russia is so bold and daring that they have been attacking nuclear power facilities. That's just a tasty taste, just a tiny morsel of what ruin could come to the whole of Europe and the whole of the world if they accelerate their nuclear strategy. Look, man, if a tactical nuclear weapon gets destroyed, it's game over for like the Earth. Like we're done. Because what's the logical solution then? Well, eye for an eye. We have to give Ukraine tactical nuclear weapons. And it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, we have moved so far away from defense now. We have moved so far away from trying to end this war that I am seriously concerned that if Russia goes nuclear, our solution will be to do the same without much of a thought of the consequences. And so, and now we're talking about training Ukrainians to use these battle tanks. Guys, this is just a bad idea. So what happens when we have tank battles in the middle of Ukraine? Then what? Russia has to escalate to something else, right? Because we know they're on the back foot, so they're going to escalate to more different types of weaponry. Oh, well, if they can't be the tanks, maybe they'll use surface-to-surface missiles on the tanks. Or maybe they'll use something else. Or maybe they'll go back to using landmines, which, by the way, are against the Geneva Convention. Guys, we're perpetuating a war that can only get worse. And no one has, for a moment, stopped to think what happens next. It's just give and give and give and fight and fight and fight. And we, the US and its allies, are intentionally, at this point, killing Ukrainians for the sake of harming Russia in the long term. We are abusing Ukraine's trust of us. Okay? I get it. The Ukrainians want the war to end. I want the war to end too. But if we continue to give Ukraine these weapons without pushing for the two sides to enter a mediated solution and to get a whole world involved and create true pressure on both governments to sit down and talk about it and negotiate in good faith, then we are going to spiral into a war that we cannot control. And I live so far away from Ukraine, and I don't truly do not know what's happening there and all the suffering, okay? I'm not belittling any of that. But if our solution is to create even more suffering, are we really doing right by all of those who have already sacrificed for this war, for the defense of Ukraine, for its existence? Have we really, truly helped them if all we do is make it worse? There are still parts of Ukraine that are not war ravaged. If we stop now, if we act now to create peace, those areas don't have to become more ravaged. But the further and further we go, the more and more of Ukraine and potentially Russia and Belarus will become destroyed. We will displace so many more civilians. I get that none of this is easy, and I'm not saying that there's an easy solution. But there are hundreds of countries that aren't Russia or Ukraine or Belarus, and they have a variety of relationships with those countries. It's time to team up as a world community and stop the war. Don't wait until it's too late. In the words of a very infamous politician, don't let the mushroom cloud be the reason that we act. Okay? We need to be smart about this, and we're not being smart about it. We're just blindly handing everything that we can to the Ukrainians without any sense of what the consequences are. And it's really scary. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, throw a like on it, share with your friends, and subscribe for more of our content. You can also find all of our videos and clips on youtube.com. Just search Let Them Eat Bread and you'll find all of our content. All right, guys, see you next time. Bye for now.